Hey guys, Shane Butler from Mustang Gym. Today I want to help you with correcting your squat and form if you need it anyway. A lot of people tend to have an excessive forward lean in their squats, and there's a few things that might be causing that. One, of course, is tightness in the hip flexors. Whenever your hip flexors become tight and short, usually from having a desk job, sitting at school, then sitting in your car, all this sitting, lets these muscles become shorter in a shortened state. When that happens, it decreases the neural drive to your glutes, so you don't feel like you mentally connect with your glutes to drive your hips back forward again. So what you end up doing is overcompensating with your back, and the squat will look something like this. Might be fine on your descent, and when you start to come up, you first raise your hips up first, almost making your back parallel to the ground, driving up, and then raising the bar with your back, where it should look more like this, okay, and driving your hips forward. So something to keep in mind is whenever you hit the bottom of the squat and you're going to start your ascent, your way up, push your hips forward. You think about driving your hips forward, that'll make you engage your glutes. If your hips move forward, then you have to come up, but you can come up without moving your hips forward, and you end up with that. That's putting the load on your back. It's really not safe, and it's not doing a lot for your leg or glute development. So before doing your squats, you could warm up with some hip thrusters. Just like a single leg floor bridge is one form of that. I showed you some last week using the Smith machine. Another one, you can do a single leg floor bridge. You can use an elevated surface like this to get more range of motion. See, right now my glute is in its full extended position. And then I'm going to take it all the way up into the full contracted position. This leg just hangs out here, just keep it straight out. Don't hold it straight up in the air, because then you're not carrying as much weight. Now it's kind of transferred the weight towards my shoulders, making it too easy for that glute to work. So you want to hold it out that direction, drive your hip up, and get good concentration. Really focus on how that feels. You can feel that in that glute. You don't really have a choice but to use your glute now. You're not going to use your lower back to compensate. Okay, then you switch to the other leg. This would be good warm up before you start doing the squat, so you have that connection going. Then before you squat, you could do another dynamic stretch for the hip flexor. Do not statically stretch the hip flexors, and I'll go over that in a second. Do not statically stretch muscles before your exercises. In very rare situations is a good idea, but you can dynamically stretch them. So I'm kicking it way back, getting that hip flexor loosened up, but not so much that the hip is hypermobile. Then you can go into your squats, and then after you perform your squats and you want to loosen that hip flexor up, and you should do if you have tight hip flexors, you should probably do this every day. You can do the hip flexor stretch this way, where you're driving your hip forward. The hip needs to be in front of the knee and try to get in front of the shoulder. So you really feel that stretch there. Another way you can do it is standing, stretching the quad and the hip flexor, but you can't do it this way. You're gonna have to pull back. Okay, you really have to get that hip again in front of the shoulder and the knee. Once you get the range of motion in your hip flexors, and you get that neural drive back into your glutes, it's going to fix the form of your squat. One other common thing that I see, and oftentimes, it goes together. If the calves are too tight and the heels pop off the ground, if you have all this together, you're going forward and your heels are popping off the ground. Or it may just look like this: when you get so low, the calves reach the end of the range of motion, and then it tilts you forward. You may feel like you're getting pitched forward when you lose balance on your squat. Do not just take something and put it under your heels. I used to see a lot of people take like a 25-pound plate and place it under their heels, so that it does, give you more balance, but you're masking the problem, not correcting it. You need to get your calves stretched out. I've done videos over calf stretches. You can do the wall stretch. You can do the runner stretch. Well, you really want to do both. But don't take these stretches lightly. Hold them for 2 minutes at a time. Literally time yourself for 2 minutes if you want to make some progress. If you've done 20, 30 seconds and it hasn't gotten you there, put the time into it. Maybe you don't have time to do all the things that are tight in your body at once. Work on one thing. Focus on the calves. Work your way up, then hit the hip flexors and so on. I hope this has been beneficial for somebody out there. If you have more questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to reach out to me here at Mustang Gym. Give me a call, 256-0745. And as always, train hard and God bless.